Do you keep a bottle of antacids nearby? Maybe it's in your purse. Maybe it's in your car. Maybe it's on your nightstand. Maybe you got it strapped to you like, yeah, like the guns in the old Western movies. You take that antacid, the burning gets better, and then it comes back like a vicious lion. So you take more. And eventually, many people find themselves asking, why does my acid keep coming back? Friend, what if the problem isn't too much acid? What if the real problem is the acid is ending up in the wrong place? And what if insulin resistance is playing a bigger role than most people realize? Stay tuned. If you're tired of sugar cravings, brain fog, fatigue, and all the conflicting health and diet advice, and you just want to know what's happening inside of your body, you're in the right place. I'm TaShawn Davis, holistic health coach, registered nurse, and metabolic health educator. I help you break sugar cravings through balanced blood sugar so you can take your health back naturally. So grab your favorite sugar-free drink, pop in those earbuds, and let's learn how to work with our body and not against it. Hey, before we jump in, I want to remind you that we do have our free Health Beyond Weight Loss, Metabolic Health, and Insulin Resistance Facebook group where you'll find community that is supportive and ready to ask questions and answer questions. Grab your free 3-day sugar reset guide in the show notes, and you can also book a 15-minute consultation with me for absolutely free. Summer is not the time to give up on your health. In fact, go hard. By the time the holidays come, you will be ready for anything. That sweet potato pie won't even tempt you, and you will learn how to make a different type of sweet potato pie because when you join these groups, you also have the opportunity to become a part of our weekly newsletter that shares recipe swaps that taste just like the real thing. So I'm excited, but let's get into today's episode. For years, I thought acid reflux happened because I ate something acidic. Maybe it was tomatoes or orange juice or even spicy food. Then I started noticing something strange. Sometimes I wasn't eating acidic foods at all, yet the reflux was still there. And that made me start asking better questions. As a nurse, I've noticed the pattern over the years. Many people who struggle with chronic reflux were taking medications called PPIs. Medications like Prilosec, Nexium, Protonic, Prevacid, and many of them have been taking them for years. Not weeks, years. And that's when I started digging deeper. Let's clear up one of the big misconceptions. Most acid reflux is not caused by having too much stomach acid. The problem is usually the stomach acid is moving where it should not go. Normally, there is a valve between your stomach and your esophagus called the lower esophageal sphincter, or LES for short. Think of it like a door. It's supposed to stay closed. When that door weakens or relaxes at the wrong time, stomach contents can travel upward, and that's what causes the burning. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Research shows that insulin resistance is associated with a higher risk of GERD and reflux symptoms. Why? Several reasons. Higher insulin levels may affect the normal LES function. Blood sugar dysregulation may slow the stomach from emptying. Excess abdominal fat may increase pressure inside the abdomen. Chronic inflammation affects multiple symptoms throughout the body. The result? More pressure, more reflux, more symptoms. Many people think they have an acid problem, when in reality, they may have a metabolic problem. Now, let's talk about the acid reflux medications. And let me be clear, these medications do have a role for short term use. Many people need them, and many people do get relief from them. But according to the FDA labeling, many proton pump inhibitors were originally intended for short term use in specific situations. That's why it's important to regularly discuss ongoing use with your healthcare provider. You always want to go and talk to your doctor about your medications. Sometimes the doctors will just ask, do you need a refill? But Remind them of the medications you're on. And because you're listening to this episode and you're making informed healthcare decisions for yourself, also talk about, what do you think? I've been on these reflux medications for X amount of years, okay? Because long term use has been associated with specific conditions, including vitamin B12 deficiency, magnesium deficiency, increased fracture risk, osteopenia, and osteoporosis. Wonder why you're tired? Wonder why you can't sleep? Wonder why you keep breaking stuff, okay? The FDA requires warnings, okay? Warnings regarding risk of hip, wrist, and spine fractures with long term use of a PPI. And as a nurse, one pattern I've noticed is that many patients experience spontaneous fractures. Osteopenia or osteoporosis are also taking long term acid suppression medications. I can't tell you how many times I went into a patient's house after a fresh fracture and I looked through their medications because immediately I already know that they're on a PPI. I remember one patient who stepped off her back porch and she said her hip broke. And I said, "Oh my gosh, let me look at your medications." And it was the first time I decided to, try to prove that the warning on the label said that you could get osteoporosis. But I actually found out that it talked about spontaneous fractures. But because of her age and everything, she refused to believe it. She was like, "No, I'm just getting old." And I said, "Okay, but you may want to talk to your doctor about reviewing this medication. We don't know what we don't know." That doesn't prove cause and effect, but it's something worth discussing with our doctors, okay? We have to make informed healthcare decisions. Now, remember, I was losing my memory in my 30s, okay? I had some issues. I never really took a long term PPI, but I wanted to do everything when I found out to avoid continual memory loss. So, here I'm going to talk about how memory loss is associated with PPI usage. There has been growing research examining possible connections between long term PPI use and cognitive health. Some researchers are investigating vitamin B12 deficiency, brain enzyme interactions, and amyloid processing. The research is still evolving, but it's another reason that you want to be periodically talking to your doctor. Now, let me share my personal experience. One thing that helped me during periods of reflux was pickle juice, right? Out of all the things, pickle juice. You would think that you would want to put more acid into your stomach, but pickle juice helped. It was a great cure for me, and it helped me. Some people also report improvement using small amounts of apple cider vinegar before meals, but everyone's body is different. We always want to make sure that we know the why behind it. So, why would apple cider vinegar be helpful? Because what? It's going to help build back up your stomach acid, especially after taking long term PPIs. Okay, so this is the reason behind it. Yes, it may not feel good for a while, but understand what you're doing will be helpful. Also, incorporating fermented foods as well as, pickles. If you aren't able to necessarily take the apple cider vinegar teaspoon with water before your meals, maybe try like a cucumber salad and add the vinegar in there. What else can you do? You can address your insulin resistance, reduce your excess sugar and carbohydrates and your ultra processed foods, lose the visceral belly fat, and cutting sugar and carbs will help you do that automatically. Avoid large meals before bed and try to sit up for at least 2 hours after eating. Discuss medication use regularly with your doctor and focus on your metabolic health because often when insulin resistance improves, many other symptoms begin improving as well. If this episode has helped you, go listen to Why You Wake Up Tired, Blood Sugar Spikes, Cortisol, and Poor Sleep. If you're having an issue with sleep, that episode may be helpful. Also, if you know anybody suffering with fatty liver or you have yet to understand what this fatty liver is all about, Listen to fatty liver and insulin resistance, 5 early signs your liver is struggling, because these conditions are all connected. Friend, sometimes the body is giving clues long before the major disease develops. Acid reflux is just another clue. Don't ignore that symptom. Get curious about the cause. And remember, health isn't something that we pause for the summer. It's something we steward year round. You are needed in this hour. I'll see you in the next episode. Alrighty, my friend. If this episode has helped you understand your body a little bit better and helped you have the confidence to make better informed healthcare decisions, share it with someone you know who may be struggling with sugar cravings, brain fog, or fatigue, because they may not even realize that blood sugar could be the reason. And also leave a review, because it really helps more people find this. Remember, the goal is to reverse 1 million type 2 diabetes in my lifetime. And as always, I want to remind you, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. And some people are fighting every day just to have the health and energy to live their everyday life that they were called to live. So I am praying for your health. I am praying for your strength. And I'll see you in the next episode.